Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Lance Sexton, back from Hollywood. You see, no, you didn't dye your hair.
I noticed the color, Bob. I've got a little red going on from the sunshine.
Yeah, we got pictures on that later. Yeah, had a good time, Lance.
Absolutely.
So, good. That's a lot of work to do, isn't it?
We did 39 segments in 2 days, so it was a lot of work, but it was fun as well.
Yeah, I know you're good at that. Hey, a bunch of news. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. For those of you who missed Friday, Katie, that was her last day, unfortunately, so we certainly wish her well, and she wants to have a larger company experience. So she's, anyway, it was, she gave a, I don't know, yeah, you were there. She gave a nice, no, you weren't there. You were traveling.
No, I was there. I was on Friday.
She gave a nice send off. It was very professional.
I could have saved her some time, Bob. She should have just stayed. No.
Do you do a social media search for your underwriting requirements for a small business borrower? Lance, is that step up
I
to?
think it's a great question, Bob, to find out about. I mean, you can find out something about anyone or any business by looking at social media. So, looking at Google and the reviews, looking at their Facebook, Instagram, even Snapchat will reveal some information that might be helpful in the underwriting process.
Lance, when I do my underwriting course, I talk about off-balance sheet items that you need to consider. I think this is now stepped up to, this is a prudent lending step. It doesn't take that much time, and you can uncover a lot of information, especially reading these fraud stories on PPP, where they say they've employed hundreds of people and they have all this big business. And if you go in and there's no social media, there's nothing, no Google search, no social media, nothing that's around there, that may think twice. Of course, in the big Nick Patel fraud, $170 million all someone had to do is do a Google Earth search of an address. That's all they had to do. They would stop that fraud, stop the $170 million fraud. And the reason why we tell this is this came from, I don't know who News 5 is, but they're into this, and they're saying they're encouraging bankers to do that. Technology and social media becoming more important for our personal and professional lives. Banks are looking there for information. I think this is going to become more and more common. I think it's going to be codified in a underwriting policy, and it's not in the SOP, but I would encourage you to do it as one of your prudent steps. Somehow do some incorporation. Especially with all the young kids you're hiring, they all know, I don't know, Instagram, whatever, the Snap.
Well, Bob, one of the things about social media with the pandemic, almost every company in America has, if they didn't have, had to develop a social media presence. With all the delivery and pickup services, there are tons of information, reviews. You can find out a lot about a small business by doing a social media search.
It's very good. So, yeah. Number 2, how many restaurant revitalization fund loans have you have been funded altogether? And this is a big story that we're following, Lance. It's stories all hitting the wire on people who got the letter that said, hey, you're approved, and then they say, well, not really.
Hang
on. There we go. We got the answer is less than 10, believe it or not, Lance.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
and there were I misspoke. It's less than 100, 78. I misspoke. But
but there were a huge number that were approved, Bob, that got halted by litigation.
Over 3,000 have an approval letter in place, and it's not going to happen. We don't know when it will end or when it will be reinstated. The problem is it's under court order now. There were 2 judges that have revoked it, Tennessee and Texas, and they just issued injunctions stopping all funding. And they argued to they had been sued, agency had been sued, arguing that the RRF priority period was unconstitutional. That period was 2 weeks of allowing underserved applicants and I think CDFIs or whatever. I think the SBA had a poor attorney. They're saying, hey guys, this is a new program. All right, we may have called it that, but it was really a 2 weeks beta. Come on.
Yeah.
But now what we've done is we've killed the program. And Lance, this is one, and this isn't SBA's fault. I'm not criticizing.
Well,
but come on. This is June of 2021. These funds had to be out there in June 2020, Lance.
Well, I think the challenge with this, Bob, is the money was needed. And halting funding of these restaurant revitalization grants is going to hurt people. And SBA will get it worked out. I just don't know how quickly.
We ran a story this morning on Main Street. Well, they've got to work with the courts as well. So it'll get worked out, but still it's
not in time.
Not in time. And they're, again, we're writing more and more about what's going on in Main Street. The world has changed. Go to that slide, Joseph. And then basically small business owners need to be, well, obviously they're aware of what's going on, but they need to understand the changes that are going to become permanent in their industry. And we think we know, but you better start pushing it, whether you're a banker, whether you're a restaurant owner. And we're still, one of the big things out there is we still don't know how the public will change any of their consumer habits. Lance, you flew on Sunday, on Father's Day. I assume it was crowded.
Yeah, packed airplane, packed airports, Bob. No issues with people wearing masks in the airport or on planes, but it was good to see things moving. I was surprised, Bob, at how busy it was.
What about the restaurants in the airport? Were they?
Restaurants in the airport, of course, you had to wear your mask going in, and once you got your food, you could take your mask off. They were also packed. In fact, in the Dallas airport, we had to go to 3 places before we could find somewhere to get a table. So. Well,
I wonder if they have. I'm sure they're having employee recruiting.
One of my favorites, those in Texas, Papados, excellent seafood restaurant, and they have one in the Dallas airport. Wanted to go eat there, but they closed early because they did not have enough employees. The manager told me he had 3 wait staff who had worked all day and were just worn out. And he said he was having tremendous trouble getting enough employees to be at full capacity.
Interesting, very interesting. And then there's the poll question. We want to know your personal situation. Are you back in the office at least 2 days a week? Lance, your answer is no. You're 100% remote.
I have a remote office.
2/3. Very good. 2/3 to 1/3. Okay. And that's actually, I would have thought that would have been a little bit higher, but nope, they're not there. Did you see that quote by the president of JP Morgan over the weekend?
I did not, Bob, but I think.
Go ahead.
I think financial institutions are in the mode of at least getting people back sometime.
Well, it's interesting. He said he wants everyone back by Labor Day, and he said, if you want to be paid New York wages, you better show up in the New York office. He's not making any other threats, but these people who moved away, I don't know what the employment law implications are, but as we've said. Some institutions want the people there. Other people say, I don't want to see anybody. I want them to do work at home. And I think it's split. We read all these polls. Personally, I think what the situation is, some people work better alone, and some people need an office. And that's really what it is. It's personality type.
Bob, there are a lot of people that were moving away from large metropolitan areas. And the reason that comes up, my dad owns a U-Haul center. And one day he said, there are a ton of people moving into Arkansas from Chicago, Los Angeles, New York. And so he had an overload of trucks, U-Haul trucks that had come in. And people were not moving out, they were moving in. And I assume it's because of telework.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, this is a cool picture, Lance. Does this look familiar?
Yeah, that's the studio. The SBA loan closer certification course that we've had around for quite some time. We had a great opportunity last week to update all the information, and there are a ton of new SBA closers out there, Bob. I hear of people getting hired. I hear of people moving to new institutions. This is a great thing to involve your SBA loan closers. It gives them a tremendous background to be a high quality SBA loan closer. So I certainly encourage you to get your staff involved in the SBA certified loan closer training.
Absolutely. Joseph, I thought we had some questions. Am I missing it, that sheet?
Yeah, sorry, give me a second.
Okay. Yeah, we have a couple questions we're going to answer. And
well, Bob, I can just add, I was in that chair for about 17 hours. Recording the various segments. There's 39 segments, training segments on the SBA loan closer course, and they're short 10 to 15 minute segments that you can take at your own pace. You can do one a day, you can do 10 a day, however much time you have, and certainly your closer doesn't have to take the day off to do the training or take 2 or 3 hours off. They can do 2 or 3 15-minute segments and go back to work and come back the next day and pick it up where they left off. So it's a great training for SBA loan closers. It's going to come out on July the 1st. You'll probably have the opportunity to get them signed up beforehand, so make sure and do that.
I will do that. And we've obviously better technology, better content. One of the things we did is we had a case study for underwriting called Franklin Brothers, and we're going to have that in Lance's.
And it says it's award-winning, Bob.
It is. Won 2 years in a row, so that was good. Well, I'm stalling here. Joseph, you got something for you? Just want to give it to us verbally?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to look them up from last week. So.
All right, we don't have them handy. I tell you what, let's do this. We'll hold them over till tomorrow. I don't want to waste some others' time. Slow news day in terms of what's happening with SBA. We're expecting a ton of news to hit, hopefully this week, especially with the July 4th coming up. So we are on top of that. And Lance, good to see you. And thank you all for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great day.